My name is Hafiz Oyetoro. This is Mid Morning Show. Keep watching Mid Morning Show.
Yeah.
Keep watching the Mid Morning Show. Good morning. You're welcome. This is the Mid Morning Show on BCOS television. And I'm saying thank God it's Friday, and also thank God for every day, because this is the Friday edition. Today is the 17th day in the month of April 2026, and I'm welcoming you aboard. My name is Ifeoluwa Olaoye. I am not alone.
And my name is Temitope Olubodo. Amazing Friday morning to you. Hi,
Yes,
sir.
it is. Hi.
I love your show.
Thank you.
I love
yours too.
accent.
Thank you. Now, today's show is not going to be, any different from our previous Friday editions, because today is going to be educational, it's going to be entertaining, it's going to be amazing. And the funny angle is that our guest today will shed light on a lot of things that Nigerians are going through, and the reason why they do this. Why I say this is because in Nigeria of today, you find out a lot of people wear many hats. They hardly have one source of income. And then you wonder that, is it because they are that talented? Why exactly do people have multiple streams of income in Nigeria? Our guest today will shed a lot of light on that, and you'll be able to pick one or two things that you could, understand about the situation in Nigeria today. So before we bring in our guests, let's go see this feature on filmmaking. We'll be right back.
Filmmaking is the process of making a film, generally in the sense of films intended for extensive theatrical exhibition. Filmmaking involves a number of complex and discrete stages, including an initial story, idea, or commission, through screenwriting, casting, shooting, sound recording and pre-production, editing and screening, the finished product, before an audience that may result in a film release and an exhibition. Filmmaking takes place in many places around the world in a range of economic, social, and political contexts, and using a variety of technologies and cinematic techniques. The history of film. The history of film as an artistic medium is not clearly defined. The commercial public screening of 10 of Lumiere brothers' short films in Paris on the 28th of December 1895 can be regarded as the breakthrough of projected cinematographic motion pictures. There had been earlier cinematographic results and screening by others, but they lacked either the quality, financial backing, stamina, or the luck to find the momentum that propelled the cinematograph, Lumiere, into a worldwide success. Soon, film production companies and studios were established all over the world. The first decade of motion picture saw film moving from a novelty to an established mass entertainment industry. The earliest films were in black and white, under a minute long, without recorded sound, and consisted of a single shot from a steady camera. Conventions towards a general cinematic language developed over the years, with editing, camera movements, and other cinematic techniques contributing specific roles in the narrative of films. Special effects became a feature in movies since the late 1890s, popularized by Georges Méliès fantasy films. Many effects were impossible or impractical to perform in theater plays, and thus added more magic to the experience of movies. Technical improvements added length, reaching 60 minutes for a feature film in 1906, synchronized sound recording mainstream since the end of the 1920s, color mainstream since the 1930s, and 3D mainstream in theaters in the early 1950s and since the 2000s. Sound ended the necessity of interruptions of title cards, revolutionized the narrative possibilities for filmmakers, and became an integral part of movie making. Popular new media, including television mainstream since the 1950s, home video mainstream since the 1980s, and internet mainstream since the 1990s influenced the distribution and consumption of films. Film production usually responded with content to fit the new media. And with the technical innovations, including widescreen mainstream since the 1950s, 3D and 4D film, and more spectacular films to keep theatrical screenings attractive. Systems that were cheaper and more easily handled, including 8mm films, video, and smartphone cameras, allowed for an increasing number of people to create films in varying qualities for any purpose, including home videos and video art. The technical quality usually differed from professional movies, but became more or less equal with digital video and affordable high-quality digital cameras. Improving over time, digital production methods became more and more popular during the 1990s, resulting in increasingly realistic visual effects and popular feature-length computer animations. Different film genres emerged and enjoyed varying degrees of success over time, with huge differences between, for instance, horror films mainstream since the 1890s, newsreels prevalent in US cinemas between the 1910s and the late 1960s, musical mainstream since the late 1920s, and pornographic films experiencing a golden age during the 1970s. Since the advent of home video in the early 1980s, most major films have followed a pattern of having several distinct release windows. A film may first be released to a few select cinemas, or if it tests well enough, may go directly into wide release. Next, it is released normally at different times, several weeks or months apart, into different market segments like rental, retail, pay-per-view, in-flight entertainment, cable, satellite, or free-to-air broadcast television. The distribution rights for the film are usually sold for worldwide distribution. The distributor and the production company share profits and manage losses. Filmmaking also takes place outside of the mainstream and is commonly called independent filmmaking. Since the introduction of DV technology, the means of production have become more democratized and economically viable. Filmmakers can conceivably shoot and edit a film, create and edit the sound and music, and mix the final cut on a home computer. There are 5 major stages in film production, which are development stage, the pre-production stage, production stage, post-production stage, and the distribution stage. The development stage. The first stage in which the ideals for the film are created, rights to books or plays are bought, etc., and the screenplay is written. Financing for the project has to be sought and obtained. In this stage, the project's producer selects a story, which may come from a book, play, another film, a true story, a video game, a fairy tale, a comic book, graphic novel, or an original idea, etc. After identifying a theme or underlying message, the producer works with writers to prepare a synopsis. They produce a step outline, which breaks the story down into 1-paragraph scenes that concentrates on dramatic structure. Then they prepare a treatment, a 25 to 30-page description of the story, its mood, and the characters. This usually has little dialogue and stage direction, but often contains drawings that help visualize the key points. Next, a screenwriter writes a screenplay for over a period of several months. The screenwriter may rewrite it several times to improve dramatization, clarity, structure, characters, dialogue, and overall style. However, producers often skip the previous steps and develop submitted screenplays which investors, studios, and other interested parties assess through a process called script coverage. A film distributor may be contacted at an early stage to assess the likely market and potential financial success of the film. The producer and screenwriter prepare a film pitch or treatment and present it to potential financiers. They will also pitch the film to actors and directors in order to attach them to the project. Many projects fail to move beyond this stage and enter so-called development hell. If a pitch succeeds, a film receives offers, financial backing, typically a major film studio, a film council, or independent investor. The parties involved negotiate a deal and sign contracts. Once all parties have met and the deal has been set, the film may proceed into the pre-production period. By this stage, the film should have a clearly defined marketing strategy and a target audience. In pre-production, arrangements and preparations are made for the shoot, such as hiring a cast and a film crew, selecting locations, and constructing sets. In this stage, every step of actually creating the film is carefully designed and planned. This is the phase where one would narrow down all the options of the production. It is where all the planning takes place before the camera rolls and sets the overall vision of the project. The production company is created and a production office is established. The film is pre-visualized by the director and may be storyboarded with the help of illustrators and concept artists. The production budget is drawn up to plan expenditures for the film. For major productions, insurance is procured to protect against accidents. Pre-production also includes working out the shoot location and casting process. The producer hires a line manager or a production manager to create the schedule and the budget for the film. In production, the raw footage and other elements for the film are recorded during the film shoot. In this stage, the film is created and shot. In this phase, it is key to keep planning ahead of the daily shoot. The primary